Chapter 1 to 12. Kissed my ex's brother. You're the one who lied, so how is it me deliberately playing you? Adrian followed Ava into the bedroom. He stood by the bed, looking at Ava playing dead with a half smile. I'm going to sleep. Ava's voice was muffled, but she was thinking, this damn man Adrian wouldn't be planning to sleep here tonight, would he? No way. But to her surprise, Adrian only said, And after a moment, he left her bedroom. Ava lifted her head, looking toward the tightly closed bedroom door. Since when did Adrian become so considerate? Well, that was fine. She really didn't have time to deal with Adrian today. Not having seen Wesley for this period, she thought she'd completely forgotten him. But seeing him again still stirred ripples in her heart. The first time she let herself go had led to such a result. She couldn't help but feel unwilling to accept it. Half an hour later, Ava sat down next to Lena in a provocatively tight mini dress. When she appeared, the eyes of all the men around went straight. Ava, why'd you suddenly change your style today? Zeke Joe asked. Broke up, changing my mood. Ava curved her lips in a smile. She moved her glass over, letting Zeke fill her wine glass. Broke up? Ava's words were like throwing a stone into a calm lake. After Ava started dating, she didn't come out to play with them much. Now, suddenly hearing that Ava had broken up, the happiest people were none other than Ava's admirers present. How did you two break up? Another friend asked curiously. Incompatible personalities. Ava didn't want to elaborate, just brushing it off with 4 words. Seeing she didn't want to talk about it, everyone simply changed the subject. Halfway through drinking, someone suggested playing Truth or Dare. In the first round, Ava drew a particularly bold dare. Pick another one. Zeke tried to take the card from Ava's hand, but Ryan Jong stopped him. If everyone did it like you, how would we keep playing? Zeke stomped hard on Ryan's foot under the table. Ever since this guy fell head over heels for Mandy Cooper, he'd stopped caring about anyone else. It's fine, it's just a kiss. Ava shook her head, refusing Zeke's goodwill. The card she drew said to kiss the 5th person from the left at the bar. It was absolutely ridiculous. She was getting the short end of the stick. Now she could only pray that person wasn't bad looking. Just kiss them on the cheek. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. Autumn looked at Ava with concern. Ava was beautiful and kind-hearted, gentle even when rejecting people. If she ran into a creep, Ava would be the one at a loss. Ava gave them both a reassuring look. She supported herself on the booth as she stood, her steps a bit unsteady. She went downstairs and walked straight toward the 1st floor bar. Autumn and the others crowded by the glass railing, watching Ava's direction with concern. Ava had drunk a bit and her head was spinning, but she wasn't too drunk. She walked to the bar and counted the backs. The 5th person wore a white shirt with broad shoulders. Her gaze slowly moved down. His waist. Nice waist. The legs wrapped in dress pants looked long. Ava suddenly felt a bit interested. She tapped the man's shoulder, praying in her heart that he wasn't a from-behind killer. The moment his face turned around, it was an exceptionally handsome face. Before Ava could think, she leaned in and kissed him. Her kiss landed at the corner of the man's lips. The man turned his face slightly, and her lips covered something soft. Ava wanted to pull back, but the next second, someone gripped the back of her neck, and the man kissed her fiercely. Not until she was nearly out of breath did the man release her. Looking at the face before her, she felt it was very familiar. Miss Hart, if you can't handle alcohol, don't drink so much. The familiar male voice was like a hammer, scattering the fog in her brain. Ava's eyes widened in shock. Mr. Reed. Embarrassment flashed through Ava's eyes. Talk about not recognizing your own allies. She'd actually kissed a man who liked men. But he was the one who actively kissed her back just now. Could Samuel be by? But didn't Ian say, Sorry, I was playing Truth or Dare with my friends. I didn't expect you to be here. Ava laughed awkwardly. For a moment, she didn't know which was more embarrassing, kissing her ex's older brother or kissing a gay man who was disgusted by women. It seemed like every time she met Samuel, there was some degree of awkwardness involved. If I weren't here, you were planning to kiss someone else? Ava nodded honestly. In the dim lighting, Ava didn't notice Samuel's face darkening in that instant. Drowning your sorrows after a breakup? Samuel glanced at Ava's overly sexy outfit, completely different from her usual style. Mr. Hale and I were just in a business arrangement. We parted ways after finding we weren't compatible. It doesn't count as heartbreak." Ava smiled. Samuel gave a meaningful, "Oh." He picked up his glass. "Want to have a drink together?" Ava looked up at her friends on the second floor who were ready to rush down, made a gesture to them, then naturally sat down next to Samuel. She thought, Samuel liked men. Perhaps they could have a marriage of convenience. After all, what she wanted was just power and influence. As for what her future husband did outside the marriage, she wouldn't care much, as long as it didn't blow up publicly and hurt everyone's reputation. She hadn't considered Samuel before, not only because he was Ian's brother, but also because he didn't like women. After this whole ordeal with Wesley, she suddenly realized she'd been too narrow-minded before. So what if he was her ex's brother? Was she really that moral of a person? The answer was no. "Does Mr. Reed come here to drink often?" Ava propped her face with one hand, looking at Samuel. Occasionally. Ava discovered that Samuel was truly a man of few words. Communicating with him was even more exhausting than talking with Adrian. If they got married, that would be great. It would be like marrying a mute. Quiet. After drinking for an hour, Ava was drunk and somewhat out of it. Samuel looked at the person sprawled ungracefully on the bar, a helpless smile floating to his lips. "Miss Hart?" Samuel called several times before Ava opened her eyes. She fumbled through her bag for her car keys. "Designated driver. Call me a designated driver." After speaking, she collapsed into Samuel's arms and fell asleep again. The softness in his arms made Samuel's body stiffen. He stood in place, momentarily motionless, until the driver came to call him and he snapped back to attention. He lifted Ava horizontally into his arms. "Take Miss Hart home first." Samuel settled her in the back seat, then spoke to the driver up front. Ava leaned crookedly against the seatback and patted the driver's seat. "Go to Rosewater Lane." The driver said, "Okay." Samuel turned his head. Mottled light and shadow fell on Ava's face, dividing it into many sections, making it impossible to see her expression clearly. If he remembered correctly, Ava didn't live there.